We're terrified. We're all
Yeah.
terrified. The minute that baby goes in your arms, you're like, holy crap, I'm screwed.
Here.
We don't think about it because instantly, the minute we catch that whiff, right? The minute we bring the baby close to our nose
Right.
and catch that scent, there's actually a chemical reaction
Yeah.
in our brain, and our brains actually change as men and go into dad mode. The minute that baby was put in your hands, you were on mission. And now you have this innate fear of failing the mission. The very fact that you don't feel that you are up to the task, that you still are like, I've got so much work to do, that proves you're a good dad. Like that's the money shot, guys, right there. Is if you ever actually get to a point as a father where you figure like you've got it all unlocked, totally figured out, then you've stopped growing or trying to grow for your kids.
Welcome to the Daughter Podcast, where fathers become everyday heroes in their daughters' lives. Grow, evolve, and lead with love. Here's your host, Oscar.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Daughter Podcast. Your local growing girl dad here. And today with my guest, Brent, is going to come in and just talk being a girl dad. And it's literally my favorite subject. So I'm super excited, man. Brent, how are you?
Man, I'm stoked. I'm excited to be here, brother. It's going to be a great conversation. I've been looking forward to this. I don't do a lot of podcast appearances, and honestly, I still get really nervous when I show up at the show.
Perfect. The blind leading the blind. This is going to go great.
Absolutely.
Well, if you guys don't know, we got connected through his podcast. Well, we got connected through Podmatch. There's just a whole program that we use. But I was lucky enough to go on his podcast, and if you guys look behind his right or left, I never know with the cameras. I don't know how they
right.
Behind his right, he's got that beautiful red hat, and I was on his podcast, which is that Dad Hat's Shenanigans podcast that I was on, and he made me wear a hat, which was no problem because it was my girl dad hat, and he made me explain it, which was really cool because then we got into the fact that Brent is also a girl dad of 2 daughters. Is that correct?
That is right. My girls are the light of my life, man. I love it.
That's right. And it's also cool because as we got to talking, so we were in the show, we got to talking a little bit there. Post show, I think because of the not notes, I think because of the conversation that we had in the show, we were like, dude, so you're a girl dad, I'm a girl dad, and this and that. And then also found out that you have been, one, helping men be better for a long time. 2, you've been in the podcasting space and in the creator space for a long time. And you get into, man, when I talk to you, I'm like, dude, I'm going to have to start an account just so that I can start picking your brain. Tell us a little bit about you, brother. Like, you got a lot going on. You've been already helping a lot of men out, try to be better like we're doing here with the Daughter Podcast. So give us a little bit of Brent. What do you got going on?
Man, this is the part where I suck at any kind of podcast because I am like the worst possible self-promoter ever. I'm a men's relationship and personal development coach. I'm a podcaster. I have 4 podcasts currently that I do. I'm a speaker. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcast producer. I produce other shows besides my own. But I just truly have a passion for helping people grow. Like my whole life, it doesn't matter what profession I was in. I ended up in a kind of a coaching or a training position. My last job in the corporate world, I was an IT guy, but I was also the head trainer for my entire division. I wrote all our SOPs. I trained all of our new people. I went to other sites and onboarded and trained people to set up other sites. I've been a personal trainer in the military. I was a squad leader early on. I always end up in this crazy, like, oh, you're going to teach people something. So it's like, I finally, like, I'm a little thick. So it finally became pretty clear. God had to hit me with a brick a few times because I'm a little slow on the uptake.
Right.
I was like, all right, that's the direction my life is going. Let's go do that. And so that's really,
it's like that apple falls from the tree. Like, oh, now I get
in
it.
my case, it's more like God just smacked me with a brick really hard, repeatedly.
There you go.
Like I said, I'm a little thick, bro. I'm just like, I'm that guy who second guesses and logics myself out of everything.
Right.
And so, yeah, I started heading towards this space, and I've been doing this now since 2020. I started my original show back in 2020, fell in love with podcasting, like absolutely fell in love with podcasting. And I still speak at conferences here and there. But I fell in love with the podcasting space. I hate social media, which is ironic, as you know, in our professions.
Right.
But I hate social media. YouTube's all right. But, I really I love connecting with people. And so, much to everybody's dismay, I started a fourth podcast just 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
But this is what I love to do. But the only thing I love more than that is I love being a dad.
There's a company extremely dedicated to restoring the dignity of hard work and the relentless pursuit of greatness. That company is Fuel Hunt, and I am honored and humbled to have them as our sponsor. They have built a community that is all about choosing discipline over comfort and taking pride in the journey because comfort is a slow death. Their clothing isn't just apparel or fight gear, it is our uniform. 100% American made, Fuel Hunt clothing is a daily reminder for me and those around me that I am committed to being among the few who truly hunt for their goals. Join the movement today and wear your ambition proudly. Everybody wants to eat, but only a few will hunt. Follow the link in the show notes and use GrillDad at checkout for 10% off your purchase.
Like my whole life goal. At 12 years old, my dad was a minister. So I went to a lot of funerals. I went to a lot of weddings. Had some real in-your-face reality checks growing up young because my dad was a minister. So I was at a lot of funerals. And there was this reality in my life set in early. And it's like, if I die, if they can say I was a good husband and a good father, then my life will have been worthwhile. I figured that out when I was 12 years old. And so that's been the goal. Like I dedicated all through my teenage years and junior high years, I was going to like marriage enrichment classes and stuff like that at like youth, at church workshops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've dedicated my life to relationships.
Wow. Dude, you know what I was doing at 12? Knucklehead things. I had no clue that I would at some point have a amazing wife that has now put up with me for 22 years and 3 daughters. Like that's such a crazy thing to even think about. 12. Like you're obviously at 12 I'm sure you're not like buying wedding rings and like doing this thing, but just your thought process, right? And you obviously had something good to emulate because that's probably showing you that.
Yeah, no, my father was I was blessed with truly amazing parents who were my father was a minister for 40 some odd years.
Wow.
His last year and a half of life was lived here with my family. My father had a major heart issue just 8 years ago now. Found out we had a familial heart problem that none of us knew existed because it had just killed everybody off in the past. And no one thought anything about a bunch of big men dropping dead from heart attacks. Turns out we have a familial gene for the same thing that killed John Ritter years ago. He was
which one was that?
It's a variation of Marfan syndrome, which Abraham Lincoln, everybody recognizes that, right? It's got the skinny, longer fingers, but it actually has a problem with your heart. You start to have aortic issues.
Gotcha.
So my dad actually had a aneurysm blowout on his aorta in the middle of the night, and he survived. Like God smiled on him. Yeah, that's a whole long story, but he was.
Isn't that what they call the widowmaker?
I don't know. I know my dad actually had the number one doctor in the world for this. Wow. Just by the guy at the emergency room recognized what was going on and happened to know him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the guy told us that the surgery to correct this has an 80% mortality rate when it's planned.
Like it
kills people. And my dad, his aorta ruptured, split 5 inches in the middle of the night, survived multiple hours before he got surgery, 11 hours on the table.
Right.
And we had him for 5 more years.
Wow.
And the doctor was like, I can't explain this. My brother looked at it, and I looked at him and was like, God's not done with him yet. My dad's been preaching for 35 years. He's not done yet, apparently.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, my dad passed away finally a couple feet from where we are in my studio. My mom still lives with us, but I had this amazing example, and there was never any pretense that my parents were perfect. I think that may have been the
Of
most
course.
valuable thing we
Right.
got. Is my parents had arguments. My parents had shouting matches
Right.
from time to time. There were times I thought
Right.
my mom was just going to kill my dad in his sleep. Like, he drove her insane, right? They were not
Right.
the most like compatible people in the world, but they made it work every day. And so we were given this example. My wife and I are going on 24 years.
Wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And sadly, that seems like a long time to people, but I grew up around people who were
Right.
married 40 and 50 years. Right. But
Yeah.
we got
Right.
to see that example of it takes work. Like, every day is a choice. Every day is hard work. It doesn't ever stop being work.
Yeah.
But my parents made each other the number one priority, and then made us priority too. And I always
Interesting.
knew that I was loved. I was always supported, even my darkest days, the worst moments of my life. Unconditional love. So
Wow.
now I'm just trying to be half the man my dad was.
Right. You got big shoes to step into,
Literally
right?
size 13 and a half.
There you go. But now you get the chance because now you're daughtered. I mean, you've been daughtered twice. Tell us
Oh
about
my
that.
goodness. So we went old school. Like, we did not find out the sex of our
Okay.
children. Like, we had no idea.
Oh, you're crazy. That's insane.
That-
That's sheer chaos. Like there's no
Everybody
way.
was like, well, is it going to be a boy or a girl? I want to know because we got a shop. I said, we're going with a VeggieTale theme, so it works either way. That
There
was the
you go.
plan. It was a VeggieTale theme, works for boys and girls. We had no idea
Right.
up until the moments our daughters were born. And that
Wow.
was, man, I can remember it was like yesterday. My oldest is 13 and a half officially. And my other daughter, Henley, is now 11. She turned 11 in July. And I dude, you know, the old saying, time is fleeting. I'm just like,
Dude.
bro, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. She was
Yeah.
right here. And
Yeah.
both of them were smaller. The oldest was 3.5 weeks. We ended up in the hospital for a week because she was 3.5 weeks early, and she couldn't
Oof.
nurse on her own. It exhausted her. So we were in the NICU for 5 days, and my wife and I both stayed there the whole time in this tiny little. It's not made to be two people.
Yeah. Right.
My wife ended up with pneumonia post birth because of it, because we're staying in this tiny little room 24 hours a day. But it was life altering because we waited really late. So my wife was 30 when we got pregnant, I think. I'd have to recount that. We waited almost 14 years. I was 21 when we got married. We waited like 13 years, I think. We were both in our 30s.
To have your kids. Yeah.
And that was intentional to start with. It's like we both had committed to at least 5 years. It's like, now we need 5 years for us to learn us, what we look like, who we are as a couple, to establish that relationship. So when our kids get older, we existed before them, we'll exist after them.
Yep.
And like, that's the number one kill off point. The biggest divorce rate at this point is after kids leave, because people rush into kids and they don't have an identity without their kids. Right. So we weren't going to fall into that. And then it was, oh, we're too broke. We're too poor. We can't feed ourselves. We're certainly not going to bring a baby into the world. And then it was, okay, well, we didn't actively start trying to have kids. It was, we're going to stop actively preventing it. Right.
Yep.
But man, I can't believe it's been 13 years. Like, it flies by really fast. And at the same time, it's like every day, I look forward to every day. Like, my children are fascinating to me. I can't wait to hear what they have to say, to see what they're going to do, just sit and talk to them. It is so exciting to me every single day. I'm fascinated. I am enthralled with everything they do. Like, my oldest daughter likes to draw. She's super gotten into drawing and anime, and she draws all the time. We had to get her tattoo markers. So she stopped drawing with regular ink on her own skin. Periodically sporting new temporary tattoos on my arms from
Okay.
she draws
All
all
right.
over me too.
You're the
Right? Yeah,
canvas.
yeah, and I'm okay with it because I'm just
Yeah.
fascinated.
Yeah.
I had someone who was like, "Do you get a new tattoo?" I was like, "No, Abby did that." Not
Yeah.
quite ready to hand her a tattoo gun yet, but that's coming.
Yeah.
A
Right.
practical marker for a
Let's just take
while.
it easy.
And then my youngest
Right.
one is so empathetic. Like she just
Mm.
loves to nurture people and
Yeah.
is very outgoing. She's somewhat of an extrovert. My oldest is like I am seriously just fascinated by everything they do.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how quickly you become enamored with a stranger? I mean, obviously they're not strangers anymore, right? But like, I've always found it very, very interesting that, mom carries them for 9 months. They feel them. They almost know, right? They know them. But then, at least for me, man, like I just when I knew we were having a kid, it wasn't like, oh, crazy, we're having a kid. It was like sheer panic mode. Like, all right, how am I gonna feed them? How am I gonna protect them? How am I gonna, all these different things I go through. Never like a feeling of connection per se, because again, I'm not. It's not a thing in my
Mm-hmm.
hand yet, right? But then the day of, you're just like, why do I like you so much? Like what is it that you just got here? You've kept me up. You've hurt your mother. Like why do I even like you right now? And it's just it's an insane feeling, I think. Maybe just speaking for myself, but as a dude, it's just an insane feeling. Like you love your wife, you've been with your wife, you have this
You
relationship
chose
with
her.
her, but it's still different.
You chose
What's
her.
that?
Right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and they just, I don't know, man. They just, I had to assume that having a boy is similar, but I'm a girl dad, so I'm biased, and this is my lane, and I'm just like, I mean, for me, my girls have just changed me. Like they straight up changed me.
I'm a Christian, and I believe everything is by design. But I'm actually always fascinated with some of the things that are by design. Do you know that when children are born, there's actually a scent patch in the soft spot of their skull that is
Mm,
biochemically designed to bond them with you and I instantly, specifically with men.
I,
It
I didn't
is
know
it
that.
is
No,
biochemically designed to bond them with their father. It's the only part of their
interesting,
body that distinctly has your biochemical markers. And
interesting. I
it
didn't know that.
is for survival. It is so that you know they are yours at smell because
Right.
your olfactory sense is actually much stronger connected to your brain. It is
Mm,
a survival mechanism children are designed
yeah.
with so men can identify this is mine and instantly connect with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Mind blown, people. If you didn't know that and your mind's not blown, that's
Right? It
insane.
is. It's such a weird because we think as human beings, right? We think we're so evolved from animals.
Yeah.
But there are still some interesting biomarkers that we are designed with, and that is
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
them, right? My sister teased me because there are dominant genes, right? Disconnected
Mm,
earlobes, certain colors of eyes. If your second
right.
toe is longer
Right.
than your big toe, right? That's a genetic abnormality.
Okay.
If you had that and your child does not, it's not your child because it is a
That's
genetically
nuts.
dominant trait. And so my sister wasn't in the state when my daughter was born. That was the first question out of her mouth. She's like,
What do her
right?
toes look like?
She knows, and my sister doesn't
Yeah.
trust anybody right off the cuff, and hadn't spent much time with my wife before that we had Abby, and so yeah, that was the first question out of her mouth. So, like the second toe is longer, right? Because she
That's funny.
knows in our family it is.
Right.
But yeah, there's these little things, these dominant genes that come through, these biochemical things. It's like, and we don't think about it because instantly, the minute we catch that whiff, right? The minute we bring the baby close to our nose
Right.
and catch that scent, there's actually a chemical
Yeah.
reaction in our brain, and our brains actually change as men and go into dad mode. The minute
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. You know what's crazy? As you say that, and people are gonna probably hate me for saying this, but the baby's not clean
mm-mm.
per se, right? It's like it's got blood and amniotic fluid in there, like it's all these
Mm-hmm.
different things that if you think about, like if you're a hunter and you go and like cut meat and like, harvest an animal, it doesn't
Right.
smell good, right? It doesn't smell good. I don't remember a single moment of my daughter once I had her in my hands because they remove her
Mhm.
from mom and they're cleaning her up or whatever that I thought, that's nasty.
Nope.
Like not a single time, dude. And the thing is, again, at the basic level, we're mammals, so it should technically smell relatively the same. Nothing.
Right.
Yeah, nuts.
It's that survival mechanism God built in. Is like, yeah, this is yours. And it's funny because when we brought
Right.
my daughter home from the hospital, I had a big German Shepherd at the time. I mean, big. He was 130 pounds. If he stood on his hind legs, his front paws set on my shoulders, and he looked down at
Oh
me.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Big, beautiful, purebred German Shepherd. I walked in to our house. The dog hadn't seen me in a week. Dog runs
Right.
over to see what all the commotion is, of course. I dropped down on a knee, lowered my child in front of my dog. My dog sniffed it and looked up at me, and I just growled and went, "Mine." And the dog looked at me, and I swear to God, it nodded a little bit and walked away.
They give you the nod.
But
All right,
my
cool. We're good.
dog sat at the edge of that child's doorstep from that day on.
Yeah. I believe it.
That
That's
was
crazy.
Dad's. Here I
Yeah.
am.
That's
I
crazy.
was fiercely protective of him, of course, till the day he died. So yeah, it's there's this base level, but it triggers this dad mode in our brains. We're terrified. We're all
Yeah.
terrified. I've never met a dad
Yeah.
who was like, "I'm going to be such a great dad." He may say that before, but the minute that baby goes in your arms, you're like, "Holy crap, I'm screwed."
Fear, bro.
You never felt
Yes.
so
And
unprepared.
and I've said this many times on the show, and I just strongly believe it. Like, you know, I've always been a
Mhm.
knucklehead, and never like fear itself just doesn't scare me. It's just, or excuse me, death itself doesn't create fear in me. But when I held my daughter, that was it. It still wasn't a fear of death. It was fear of not being here.
Mhm.
Right. So there's a difference. Like, not really worried about how I go. I just don't want to go now because of this. And I was doing some real knuckleheaded things prior to that. Like I would easily go jump out of planes and like do these other stuff that now I'm like, I still did it, but I would second guess. I'm like, should I be doing this today? And it wasn't the fear of dying. It was the fear of not being present and around
You're
my
a military
child.
guy, right? So you
Yeah.
understand being on mission, right?
Yep.
When you're on mission, that's where you are. Nothing else exists. You're on mission.
Right.
The minute that baby was put in your hands, you were on mission. And now you have this innate fear of failing the mission. It's not a fear of death because you would not think twice to die for those children of yours.
Right.
Right. It's a fear of failing the mission that you instinctively know is now yours. Right. Your job from that moment on is to make sure this child thrives.
Hey, if you enjoy the Daughter Podcast, you'll love what we've got waiting for you at daughterpodcast.com. As soon as you visit, you'll be prompted to join our new email newsletter, a resource packed with valuable insights, practical tips, and powerful perspectives straight from our podcast episodes and incredible guests. Don't miss out on the chance to join the community and strengthen your journey as a father. Visit daughterpodcast.com today and subscribe, because great dads never stop growing.
And that's crazy too, because you think about that for a minute, and I always go back to figuring out one, like why I started this show, right? Because I realized I wasn't prepared. Even after my daughter had already been here, like my second daughter got here, and I'm like getting a little bit better, but then finally my third daughter got here, and it became apparent. I'm like, man, dude, I'm behind. I'm behind the curve. They're, to your point, they're just growing. And I used to hate that too, by the way. I used to hate when they're like, oh, it's gonna go by so fast. Like, shut up, dude. Like, I don't know why. Like, because everybody tells you, right? Everybody tells you. And then now I look at my 13-year-old and I'm like, what the hell? Like like almost like a blink, right? You look at them and you see their little tiny, body that you just picked up from the hospital, but now they're like 13. And you're like, what happened? What did I do or didn't do to get to this point? Because that's crazy. Like, how did I not stop time? And like, how do I? And really, all that means is, at least in my eyes, all that means is I know that I've missed opportunities and I've missed moments and I've missed time, right? And we all have to work, we have to do these things, but it's that purposeful time. I've missed time when I'm home that I haven't actually given, if that makes any sense, right? That actual presence of time. And I think that's why I hate when people say that, oh, it's going to go by so fast. Or I used to hate that. Now, I was just on someone's podcast not too long ago, and they're like, what would you say? I'm like, dude, presence, man. Be present. Find ways to be present. If all you have 10 minutes, drop the phone, get the computer away, and just do 10 minutes of like 100% presence, because it's gonna be fleeting so fast.
See, but I can tell, like, I'll tell you and all the men listening, the very fact that you don't feel that you are up to the task, that you still are like, I've got so much work to do. Oh my gosh, how do I not have this figured out after 3 kids? That proves you're a good dad. Like that's the money shot, guys, right there. Is if you ever actually get to a point as a father where you figure like you've got it all unlocked and totally figured out, then you've stopped growing or trying to grow for your kids.
Right. You've gotten there.
It's not a place.
Yeah.
I am dumber, I think, 13 years into my oldest kid's life than I was when she was born. Right. Every day it's like,
oh yeah.
I have decades of working with teenage girls, and now that mine is a teenager, I'm actually really like excited about it. But at the same time, it's like I feel like none of the previous couple decades of working with teenagers, right?
Prepared you.
I'm a noob. And it's like, dude, I've got 2 decades of working with teens, dealing with teenage girls and preteen girls all the time. And I'm still like, I got so much work to do. There's so much I got to figure out.
And I think that's the saying that goes around. You'll catch every so often on like Instagram or something, right? It's true. It's hard if you care, because you've met those parents like, oh, it's easy. I'm like, really? What are you talking about? If you're doing the work, it's not an easy task, and it should be the most difficult task. You're raising other humans, man. You're hopefully striving to raise them good, right? Raise good, decent, kind humans that can also protect the unprotected. And you put in your ideas. You're doing all these things, and you don't even know how to do it yourself. You're just that it's got to happen. And I think that's the anxiety, I guess, of like the blind leading the blind, like we were talking about. It's like, all right, well, I have a teenage girl. Well, first of all, I was never a teenage girl. I always thought teenage girls were nuts. And now I got to figure out how to help her maneuver through being a teenage girl.
Well, of course.
Keep in mind, my wife is still here, and I constantly look over. I'm like, what do we do now?
That's worse as a dad, right? Because what do we actually know about teenage girls? Well, we used to date them. Right? Our perspective on girls up until the point. One of the guys I had a privilege of working with over the course of 2 different companies over, I think we worked together for almost 10 years over 2 different companies, but he was a really young guy compared to me. And I had the privilege in that time period to watch him meet his girlfriend, fall in love with her, and have kids. Right. And when I first met him, like he didn't want it, like we started talking about our kids and he's like running out of the room and he wanted nothing to do with that. It was like 20, 21, 22-year-old kid. To watch him actually have his first kid, like the change in his personality, the change in his perspective on the world was huge. But I will never forget, I came into work one day and he's like looking distant. He sat right next to me at work. I'm like, bro, what's up? Because he just like looked totally distant. And he's like, I was like, dude, are you okay? What's going on? He's like, Katie's pregnant again. I was like, congratulations, man. That's amazing news. He's like, it's a girl. And instantly I understood the look on his face because he had a little boy. I said,
right.
And every man in the world sucks and is a creep, right? And you're terrified. He's like, how the hell do you sleep at night?
Yeah.
I was like, I know,
Dude,
bro, because now you're thinking about all the scum little boy you were, and now you're looking
yes.
at different.
You 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 watch like shows and movies different. You listen to music different. You dude, I was just talking to someone about this. I used to listen to NWA, and dude, if you like I put it on not too long ago, put it on, I was like, whoa, who the hell listens
Right.
to this? That's someone's daughter. Like, instantly, like it was the first thought, right? And it's crazy because everything feels like I have to protect them from. And I'm talking about like all of our societal things, like songs and music, TV,
Mhm.
like all these different things that are just influencing. And I'm like, man, how do I do this? Like it's crazy. And that's how I felt. It was even overwhelming originally,
Mhm.
right? But as I've grown and I always tell my 13-year-old, like, I'm
Yeah.
growing with her because to your point, like I don't know I don't know what to do next minute. Like we'll figure it out, but I don't know what to do the next minute, right? As I grow and I'm like, all right, it's not so much me protecting them from that because
Mhm.
that's there. Like the horrible messages in the music and the TV and the movie, like it's all there. It's just how do I emulate what I think I want her to respect of me, right? As a man, as a husband, right? 22 years of marriage it ain't easy, but how do I show her that my appreciation for her mom is bigger than ever, right? Because of all the things that she does. And so all those things is the mindset's changed. The mission's still the same, but the essentially the target is a little bit
Mhm.
different.
Well, and you bring up the way that you show her by the way you treat her mom, and you were deeply onto it right there. That is one of the things. That is one of our jobs as dads.
Mm,
How we treat their mom is crucial. Even in homes where you've got a divorce, right? How you
mm,
treat their mom as an ex, it
right,
matters because
right.
whether things worked between you and your ex, I have a deep appreciation for a friend of mine. Their divorce, he's remarried now, she's remarried, but their son is theirs, right? And despite
Hmm.
everything, they have co-parented well together. It's been very amicable. He still treats her with a great deal of respect. They have joint
Hmm.
events for him and share him
Mm,
well, despite the fact that it's now a super blended family. And it's one of the things
hmm.
I have to commend him on because, like, he'll know how he's supposed to treat his wife because of the way
Right,
you have treated his mother. Your daughters will
right.
know how they're supposed to be treated by the way you treat their mother. And that
Yeah.
is one of the having a healthy relationship with your spouse is probably one of the most important things you can do for your kids, especially for your daughters,
Mm,
because you are
right.
setting the bar for what they will tolerate, what they will expect, what they're going to get out of life.
Hmm.
And it's really like that was my first thought. It's like, oh my God, I have to become Superman now. Right.
Yeah,
For the first initial panic is, oh my God, how am I going to pay for all this? Right.
yeah.
Because the
That's
first
right.
thing that jumped in mind is how do I finance and pay for the fact that we now have a child? But right, the next
Hmm.
leap for me was how do I become Superman? Like in reality, how do I
Yep.
become Superman? Because my job right now for the rest of their lives is to set the bar ridiculously high. The way I treat their
Hmm.
mother, the way I live my life, the way I treat them, this will set the bar for their expectations for their relationships for the rest of their life. And that is a
Yeah,
tremendous weight that you start carrying as a dad. Is like,
yeah,
if my daughter is tolerating some guy being a punk or slapping her around, that's on me. I set that example
yeah.
because if I set the example
Right,
well, he she may end up going out with a jerk at some point, right? He may hit her, but he's going to
right,
only get to hit her once because
right. It's gonna regret that.
A,
Yeah,
she'll walk away when whether she tells dad or not, she'll instantly know she does not ever have to tolerate that and should not,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? So every day it's like super dad. You gotta figure out how to put on the tights every day,
yeah, yeah.
every
Right.
decision you make.
Wait, that's a That's a little bit of a doozy conversation too, and I'm learning this
Mhm.
now, right? Up until like 10 years old, you are the superhero. Like you can do no
Mhm.
wrong. You're the strongest, you're the fastest, you're the all the things, right? And you mentioned how you take care of their yeah, how do you take care of their mother and of them and all and the things around you? But then how do you take care of yourself, right? Because at some point your kid's gonna realize, oh, actually, my dad is not Superman. He's just another
Mhm.
human. And how did we do that? How do we take care of ourselves? And then how do we come across as human to our daughters? Because we have to make sure that they know, yeah, we're human, we're here, right? But at some point, like the one I saw ultimately was like it said, at some point your kids are gonna figure out who you
Mhm.
actually are. And that really got me because I'm like, that's very true. My daughter and I, my oldest, will have these different conversations now where I think she's trying to figure me out, right? And and then and I'm glad, but it makes me wonder, like, have I lived those values? Have I taken care of myself in the way that they see that someone
Mhm.
should? And like, I start questioning all those steps to now, and I'm like, man, I don't know. And at first, it was more of not hiding it, but just not showing my full self to her. And now it's way easier and more prudent to just be like, listen, let me tell you how I screwed this up
Mhm.
real quick, right? Let me apologize to you, or let me go apologize to your sister, or what have you, right? And but it's more of they're watching all the things that you do, they're listening to all the things that you do, and to your point of your little one, if they're real empathetic, they're feeling all the
Oh,
things
yeah.
that you do, and that's huge, right? Because my my middle girl is just like that. She feels when I start getting irritated. Like she'll tell me before I even realize I'm irritated. She's like, "Is everything all right?" And so all the things that I'm talking about is how are we coming across and how are we taking care of ourselves so that we show up best?
So that I mean, that's a really deep question because that I think all dads will struggle with that over the course of being a dad, right? You're always trying to figure out how to find that balance.
Yeah.
How do I get my workouts in? And as men, the first thing we give up, as dads, the first thing we give up is taking care of
Oh
ourselves.
yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing out the window to make more time.
Yep.
And it's an ongoing process, right? I want to say that there is perfection to it, but like every dad finds their way because once you realize how important it is
Mhm.
to maintain, oh, I need to maintain my health. Oh, I need to make sure I'm still learning things, right? You start cutting where you can.
Yep.
And that's the first thing I try and tell dads is the first thing you need to do is cut stuff. A lot of guys try to add, well, I'll do this or I'll take on this habit, and that ends up
Right.
screwing them
Right.
up really bad. You start looking for things you can cut,
Mm.
right? Start looking for the how much time do I spend watching this show? How
Yep.
much time do I spend doing needless, tedious tasks that don't actually have any value?
Hmm.
Then you start looking at what can you outsource, right? Because you don't want to, if it's not moving the needle the direction you want to go, but it still has to be done,
Yep.
is that something you can outsource, right? I'm always looking at what can I get somebody else to do. And, if you have the financial means, there are a lot of answers for that.
Oh
If
yeah.
you don't, then you will have to get more creative. But like, I'm the first person awake in my house. I'm awake 2 hours before anybody
Right.
else every day, and I have been for years. I go to bed as soon as I put my children down.
Hmm.
I strictly put my kids down between 8:30 and 9, which they think is really unfair, being 11 and 13.
Yeah.
But that consistency of bedtime, that's a whole nother conversation. That is so good for your kids
Right.
is
Right.
unreal. But that is one of the ways I started making more time to take care of those things, right?
Hmm.
I stopped going to the gym. And so I have the benefit of I used to be a personal trainer. I actually tried to start a gym. I was going to start a mobile training service to start with. And in my area, it's just not practical. There's
Hmm.
just not the demand for that service here.
Hmm.
But I also bought a bunch of strongman gear for a conference I used to host.
Right.
And we had a strongman competition during it. And so I've got a bunch of strongman stuff in my backyard, but really you need some weight plates and some bars,
Right.
right? But I stopped going to the gym. I started working out at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started dragging my kids out with me,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do I get time with them and still take care of myself? Well, I start making that part of family time.
Right.
And I'll get my wife out there and my kids, and they're out there working out with me, right? I got videos of me teaching my kids how to deadlift and how to bench press and how to squat.
Right.
And my 11 and 13-year-old out there doing squats with a 70-pound squat bar.
Nice.
The 11-year-old can hold the squat bar. She no weight yet, but she can hold the squat
Right.
bar.
Right.
But I make it a part of them. They see me, even if they don't want to work out with me, they'll come out and hang out in the
Mhm.
yard while I'm working out.
Yep.
And like they're psyched. I hit a big lift. They're like, yeah, go down. Right.
Yeah. Right.
You have to start working them as much as a dad, you have to work into their world. You also have to work them into your world
Yep.
because you're an adult.
Yep.
And they have to understand there are things that they're going to have to get into their lives.
Right.
And so you set that as part of your example of how to do it all, right?
Mhm.
My kids, my daughter walked in the other day and I was praying, and she waited till I was done praying because I had just finished reading my scripts and Bible
Mhm.
and spent some time praying because it's important that they see that that's important to me and
Mhm.
that's part of my life. As important as them see me go out in the backyard.
Right.
And I don't have a bench, dude. I lay on the dirt and do floor press
There you go.
because I don't have a bench, right? I got a bar, don't have a bench.
Right.
But my kids see me out there and they see me dripping sweat.
Right.
Like, I'm one of those truly sick people who loves to work out.
Yeah.
Like I love the pain. I
Yeah.
love squats. They're my favorite things. I want to be dying at the end of every workout.
Right.
I always look heavy. And so I take them out so they can see that part of me. That's
Yep.
part of who I am. They see me sitting here reading books. My daughter walks with me enough. She'll get up with me sometimes to go for a walk, 2-mile walk at 4
Mhm.
o'clock in the morning. Now that she's a teenager, she doesn't do that as much as
Yeah.
she used to.
Right.
But about 2 years ago, we were doing a fundraiser for Stop Soldier Suicide.
Mhm.
It was the 50-mile ruck march challenge, which is nothing if you've been in the military, but she was 12 at the time.
Yeah.
So putting on a 15-pound ruck
Yeah.
at 4 o'clock in the morning and going 2 to 4 miles she was a trooper. We got there.
Yeah.
We had one day where we did 9 miles.
Woo.
We were getting to the end of the month and we had a couple bad days of weather.
Yeah.
And so we had to make up some lost time. We cracked out 9 miles. She did it with 15 pounds on her back.
Trooper.
At
Holy
12
moly.
years old,
Yeah.
right? We had a long day.
Yeah.
But we crushed it out, got it done in a reasonable amount of time. We were averaging, I want to say 17-minute miles with
Right.
weight, just
Dang.
walking and
That's
talking.
moving for her, dude.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the thing, right? She's not even my height. So she's moving faster than
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
But I make them part of that world with me so they can see dad cares about taking care of himself.
Mhm.
When I get off my diet, I tell them I'm off my diet and I'm feeling it and I need to drop weight or I need to, right? I am just upfront so they can see it's part of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's part of everyday choices and they can see the struggle to get it in. I want them to
Mhm.
see that it takes extra time. It takes extra intention on my part
Right.
to get those things in, but I put it on my calendar. Like I put them on my calendar.
Right.
And that's the secret is you've got to work on yourself.
Oh yeah.
You can't pour out of an empty cup, but to make it work with having kids, you got to work them into it.
Yeah.
If they're not part of it, then they're going to fight you. You're going to struggle with that
Mhm.
time. If they're with you on it, then it's still a family event.
Yep.
They don't care. They just want to be with you anyway, right?
Right.
So
Right.
make it a family thing.
Yep. And it changes the way that you show up, right? Because the whole point, as we mentioned, is intentionality. Are we showing up intentionally? And you don't have to be perfect all the time, all right? And that's one thing that I like to reiterate. Like I'm on this platform, man. I am far, far from a perfect dad. Like far from a perfect dad. I literally am on this platform to learn from fathers, right? To see their perspectives, to see their experiences, and see what I can take away because I want to show up better. But what you're doing is you're you're influencing the way that you're showing up for them, and that's good because I know for me, I'm the same. If I'm not getting consistent workouts, and it sounds selfish, but it's like that is the way that I take care of myself and I'm able to show up better. And my
Oh yeah.
wife will tell you, there's times where we're just busy and I just didn't make the time and I didn't prioritize. And then I'll come home or we're doing something. She's like, you know what? Go work out. Cause she knows, like, just go work out. Like, we need you to go do that first and then come over here. And she knows that.
Hmm.
And that's because I haven't taken care of myself. I haven't, put in the time. I haven't woken up early or making the time to do those things because we, for whatever reason, we all get busy. And like you mentioned, our minds go. And let's face it, it's hard to get up in the morning and what have you, right? But it's ultimately what we owe them.
Yeah.
We owe them a dad that shows up and wants to be there and it's and present and mindful of how they show up, like all those, like, we owe that to them. So that's the way I look at it. Like, yep, when my wife tells me that, I don't even, you could probably take ego to it and start acting like a diva, but it's like, yeah, okay, you're right. I'll be right back. Let me go push some weight, get some sweat out, and sure enough, I come back and I'm like, I tell my wife, like, thank you, I needed that. I didn't realize that at the time, but I needed that. And so, yeah, you're showing them the importance of taking care of yourself. And I think, like you said, it's on your schedule and they see it and they know it's not at the most convenient times. And maybe they don't fully concept that right now, but as they grow, they'll realize, like, oh, dad had to wake up early because the rest of the day takes over sometimes. And if he doesn't get it in, the rest of the day takes over. And that's just what it is. I
Oh,
mean, it's
my kids have had the benefit of seeing me have to go outside in the backyard and push iron at 100+ degrees
yeah.
because I didn't get to it first thing in the morning.
Yep.
It fell later in my schedule. And so they have seen me out there laying in the dirt at 103 degrees, pushing iron and just sucking life.
Yeah.
But this is one of those great opportunities because dads have a unique ability as fathers, right? Kids thrive best with moms and dads, right? That's just a fact. There are going to be people who are going to complain about that, but it's just a fact,
Yeah.
right? Because moms and dads bring something unique. And one of the unique things dad brings, dad is the enabler. Dad is the one who convinces the child that they can, that they are capable, that they are resilient, that they can get back up, that they can push themselves harder. That really comes predominantly from the dad. And so every time they see you struggle with something like that, and they see you are hating life and pushing hard, and it's like, daddy's got to get in because I'm a better daddy for you when I do, right? When they see you suffer, when they see you push, it tells them, it's like, man, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do so much more. Dads are the ones who make you believe in yourself. I'm not saying that moms don't have some effect, but science has taught us predominantly that that is neurologically where that comes from. And so every time they see you working hard, every time they see you struggling and pushing yourself and, you're fighting to keep functioning, but you keep showing up and you keep doing it, you're teaching your kids to be resilient. You're teaching them they have a depth. When my daughter was playing basketball, that was something we were walking every morning for training. We'd walk and we'd do some jogging, but mainly we were doing a lot of walking, some weighted walking with some ruck packs. And because she realized she performed better when we were doing that. Right. But one of the things I taught her was one of the things that the military taught me was your mind forces you to quit so much sooner than your body actually needs to quit.
Right.
And her teammates would get so confused. They'd ask her, like, why is your dad screaming, dig, dig?
Right.
And that was what I would yell. So she would hear it and realize, like, no, I've got a whole nother gear.
You got more. Yeah.
I've got more in me. I can keep pushing. Right. But we talked about that. We learned that when we were walking, doing this Ruck Mark challenge, right? Understanding that truth. And then we started applying it to basketball because that's what she likes to play.
Yeah.
Right. Is you think you're tired. You're not actually.
And you gave her that confidence to realize that she has the abilities to do whatever if she pushes, right? If she knows that she knows what amount of work is going to come through. So definitely learning that from you right then and there. Yeah, man. Well, it's clear to me that that you're driven to thrive. Coincidentally, that is the company name, right? And
It's a podcast. Yeah.
I mean, what a way to what a better way to show that through your actions in your life than with your daughters. That's amazing, man. I know we're getting closer on time here. With all of your experience, helping men be better, and now your experience as a daughtered father, leave us with something that you think that all men with daughters should consider as they get into this life, right? So that young dad that you mentioned is like putting their head on their hands on their head and just thinking, I got a girl coming. Like what am I gonna do? Right? That's the dad you're talking to. What would you say to him?
You are everything that she will absolutely need. You won't ever feel like it. You will never feel like you are enough. But you are everything she will ever need, because you will always rise to whatever she needs. Whether you have it in you now or not, you will always rise up to that level. You have it, you just don't know it yet.
Right.
But you are everything she needs.
Absolutely, dude. That's awesome. That is great, great advice. And the nice thing too, especially now as we grow as a community, is that there's there's ways to get what you need when you realize you need it. And if you find these communities of men who are trying to grow and trying to be better all the time, you are going to give your daughters, your kids, the best possible father. So absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. That's amazing. And oh, by the way, I couldn't agree with you more on the other part too. I don't ever feel like I'm doing well enough. I don't ever feel like I'm enough. But you'll be surprised. Your daughters will tell you slowly but surely at the most weirdest times. They'll let you know. Brent, man, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know that we could probably do this again, and hopefully I can lure you back in at some point. But I just so grateful for you to come on and share your perspectives and experiences with us. And again, thank you so much.
It's an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. I hope that this really kicked in because Brent brought a lot of that good wisdom to us. And I know I I wrote my notes down to start implementing. So hope you enjoyed. Please share this with someone out there, and we will catch you on the next one.
This has been the Daughter Podcast. Be sure and share this show with a friend. Like, subscribe, follow us on social media, and leave us a review. For everything Girl Dad, head over to daughterpodcast.com. That's daughterpodcast.com.